guys sure? Absolutely. Idra is a granary. Wheat. The Yerushalmi asks, how can you say, it's Yerushalmi in Brachos, it says, how can we say, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz? It should say, Hamotzi dagan min haaretz. Right? So, it's a machlokas. One is because either during, originally it was Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, but the Tzadas was a lechem tree. And so now it was punished that it grows as well. And the other thing is because Lasik Lavo, bread will grow in trees. Since that in order to get lechem, to enter true chachma, you also have to be able to leave.
What? Leave what?
To leave true chachma. In other words, it's one thing to reach a level at which you've worked on yourself, you've achieved Yirah Shamayim. You're really not supposed to learn this until you've achieved a certain level of Yirah Shamayim.
You're actually supposed to know what we're learning.
What we're learning.
Yeah, it's 40, I can learn.
But the basic level of Yirah Shamayim that you have to have before you learn this is that you experience such an intense love for learning and an intense love for the Rabboni Shalom that you don't want to drop it. That's what it means. So in the same way that if you're dancing on, with one of your kids on your shoulder, so you're in heaven, you have your kid on your shoulder, but the fact is, even as you're dancing with your kid on your shoulder and you're in heaven, you still are going to be extra careful that you don't do anything to hurt the child, chas v'shalom. The same thing with your service of the Rabboni Shalom. You have such joy and you reach such incredible heights, you want to make sure that you don't do anything that will disturb that level of connection with Hashem. If you reach that, you're considered a Yarei Shamayim. So in other words, if you're able to stop and think before you do something, will this damage the level I am at in my relationship with Hashem, then you qualify as a Yarei Shamayim.
If you stop to think.
Just stop to think that the way I'm going to make this bracha, will it damage my relationship with Hashem or not? But that's to enter. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but it's often very hard to take the 3 steps back at the end of the Shemona Esrei. Or it's like making Havdalah at the end of Shabbos. Like we had to rush out of Shabbos. So it's hard. You don't want to leave Shabbos. You want to have your Shalosh go on for 2-3 hours and so on, and just keep Shabbos going. And you don't want to leave. So Chaim Vital says that the only way that you can enter this is if you know you have a strategy for leaving. Because you're not going to be able to go back into your life without also and be able to apply it on a practical level if you think that what you're learning only exists in higher worlds and not in your life. If you're just living on the higher levels and you don't know how to take it with you, then you basically have not learned anything, because the whole idea of learning secrets is that you learn how to connect the upper and the lower worlds. So to just remain in the upper worlds, you're missing the point.
So it can't be just an intellectual exercise.
That's right. Or this spiritual escape.
Or what you wrote in the newsletter.
Or what I wrote in the newsletter. Yeah.
Rabbi, you had mentioned in the previous lesson that most people don't connect the upper worlds and the lower worlds except on the most basic entry level, if at all. Could you teach us like the first step?
That's what we're going to do.
Okay. Thank you.
So the first step, actually, you heard it when Rabbi Abba, remember Rebbi Shimon was crying. Rabbi Abba said, look, we've come this far, we have Yirah Shamayim, and we're able to grow. So then that's the first stage. You have Yirah Shamayim, And you have an established pattern that what you learn, you use to grow. That's the first step. So you don't learn things that are theoretical, you learn in a way that you will apply. Tana. We have learned. Ki ismanu chavraya kami de Rebbi Shimon. They counted the chaverim, they appointed the chaverim and counted them, who were sitting there with Rebbi Shimon on the day of his death. Excuse me. V'ishtakhu, and they found that there were 10 chaverim, and every one of the 10 chaverim represented a different sphere. Rabbi Elazar Berei, Rabbi Elazar, his son, comes from Chesed of Chachma. Right? We've been learning Chesed, right? So Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rebbi Shimon, is Chesed of Chachma. Rabbi Abba is Chesed of Bina. Rabbi Yehuda is Chesed of Chesed. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yaakov is Chesed of Tiferes. Rabbi Yitzchak is Chesed de Gvura, obviously. Rabbi Chizkiah Bar Rav is Chesed of Netzach. Rabbi Chia is Chesed of Yisod. Rabbi Yossi is Chesed of Malchus. And Rabbi Yesa is Chesed of Hod. Yadin Yavu Rabbi Shimon. So they all put out their hands to daven for Rabbi Shimon, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should grant him the strength and the clarity and the desire that he should reveal to them before he dies the secrets of the world of Tikkun, Olam HaTikkun. Va'atzba'un zakfu le'ela, they lifted their fingers above, that Hashem should help Rabbi Shimon succeed in revealing the paths of Tikkun so that they could use them. Ve'alu b'chakla b'nei ilanim, and they were in this field, and they were in a field surrounded by olive trees. V'yasvu, each one sat on the stone that was his. So you have one big stone where Rabbi Shimon was lying, and then you had 10 stones around him. Come Rabbi Shimon v'tzali tzilus. So now they davened. You have to listen to everything carefully. They davened that Rabbi Shimon should be able to reveal to them the world of Tikkun. After they davened for him, come Rabbi Shimon v'tzali tzilus. Rabbi Shimon stood, and he was mispalel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should open their hearts, that they should be able to receive the secrets that he was going to reveal to them. So what's interesting over here? There are 2 steps. One is you have to understand that any time you have a Rebbe-Talmud relationship, there are 2 independent steps. The first step is that you have the Rebbe's connection to the Talmud, and you have the Talmud's connection to the Rebbe. So, for example, if you look at Rashi on Kriyat Shema, so Rashi says that you should teach Torah to your children. Rashi says this is referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because he is our Rebbe. How do I know? Banim atem la'Hashem Elokeichem. You are children to Hashem. So you are children to Hashem. Why? Not because he created you, but because he's your Rebbe. So the Rebbe has to look at the students like children, and the children, Rashi says in a different place, in Parshas Re'eh, have to look at the Rebbe as a father. So it's both ways of the relationship. But which one comes first? So you know from the Mishnah, what comes first? Aseh lecha Rav. That you first have to reach out to make the Rav. So Rebbi Shimon didn't daven for them that they should be able to receive his secrets until they were davened that he should be granted the gift to be able to reveal it to them. The reason is that when you're makabel Torah in a real way, meaning that the Torah is able to go into your neshama and rest there and sink in and change you, what you have to do is you have to make yourself a receptacle to receive a spark from the Rebbe. Because what the Rebbe is doing is giving you a spark of his neshama. But he can't give you the spark unless you're willing to take it, otherwise it will burn you. So first, the Chaverim have to be mispalel for Rebbi Shimon, and then Rebbi Shimon can be mispalel for them. First they have to make themselves ready to receive, then he can share his spark. First you have to turn to the Ribbono Shel Olam as a father, meaning as a Rebbe, and then the Ribbono Shel Olam turns to you as a child, meaning as a Talmud. So that's why when you say Hamalamed Torah L'Amo Yisrael, Hashem is your Malamed, he's your Aleph-based teacher. You have to want that relationship with the Ribbono Shel Olam that he should teach you. And that's why every time you're learning, before you learn, you say a tefillah that you're opening yourself up to receive from your Rebbe.
Well, right. So wouldn't it have made more sense then if Rabbi Shimon had davened that he should have the clarity and the capacity to give over, and the students had davened that they should be able to receive, instead of across?
You're right. So you tell me why not.
Well, as a general rule with tefillah, your tefillahs get answered when you're davening for somebody else.
That happens to be true.
I don't know.
They knew that they were open. They understood completely that they were open because they had already learned the first Idra. They had already created this connection with Rebbi Shimon. But even after you have your connection with your Rebbe, what you need to do is you have to be mispalel for him. Because it's not him. He's supposed to be he's supposed to be a vessel from the Ribbono Shel Olam, right?
Right.
So what you're dominating is that he should be an adequate vessel from the Ribbono Shel Olam so that he'll be able to teach you.
But then if they were already ready and open and prepared, why did Rabbi Shimon have to daven that they should be?
Because he's taking them to a whole new level. And every time you take a student to a whole new level, then it's a whole different level. It's a whole different approach in Avodas Hashem. You ever hear this thing that when you're raising a child, then one of the things you have to do is always treat the child as older than he or she is. And that way they grow into themselves. Here, it's not just that he's expanding them, he's taking them to an entirely new level. They understand that this is a whole new level that's coming. So it's in the same way Moshe Rabbeinu was, the Gemara in Eruvin says that Hashem taught Moshe the Torah. He forgot it. Taught him the Torah again. He forgot it. Taught him the Torah again. He forgot it. He forgot it. He forgot it until Hashem said, "Oh, fine, just take it as a gift." That until you understand that there's information, but that real Torah, so that it comes into you and it speaks to your neshama and it will change you, is a gift from the Ribbono Shel Olam. So then it's not just that you are ready to receive this level of instruction, it's that your neshama is ready to receive the gift. And that's what the tefillos are over here.
I wanted to say something. I also think that the fact that you have the 10 Haverim, right, and they're all together davening for the Rebbe to be able to teach them, the fact that they're all together davening for that, they're unifying all 10 of them to be able to receive that.
That's right.
It's going to go down.
That's a good point. Yes.
Why didn't they daven to Hashem to reveal it to them? Why did they feel like they need to go through the conduit?
Through the one?
Through the Rebbe instead
Because Rebbi Shimon had it. He was the one who had received it already. So then it won't come as a matana to you.
So in our life, we should a part of our davening should be through the clarity of our Rebbe.
Has to begin that way.
It has to be.
Otherwise, how will you ever learn to have the Ribbono Shel Olam as your Rebbe? every human relationship teaches you something about your relationship with the Rebbe Shimon, which we learn from Kabbalah Savichaves Himecha.
Even destructive relationship?
Yeah.
In what way a destructive relationship teaches you?
How not to be destructive.
So, because destructive relationships are always in some capacity two-way also. It's not just one way, so.
Sure, and whenever I'm in a bad relationship, it's the other person.
Always.
Yeah. Right.
There you go. So you learned that.
Yeah, I learned that. Except with God. Then I'm willing to accept some of that. Yosef Bikavaihu. So now Rebbi Shimon sat down. They finished their davening, and he sat down with them in this circle. Va'amar kol chad yashvi yadai b'tokvei. Everyone should put his hand on his chest. Shavu yideyom v'nosivlon. So on his chest, they all put their hands on his chest, and they had to swear that they were going to maintain the integrity of everything that they were learning. Pasach v'amar. So now Rebbi Shimon opened and he said, Arur ha'ish asher ya'aseh peso masecha maseh yedei charash. Cursed be the person who makes an image or an idol that is carved out. V'sam b'seser, and he puts it in a secret place. This is anybody who thinks that this is referring to anybody who thinks that you can take a concept in Kabbalah, which is explained in a physical form, and you take it literally. That's turning it into idol worship.
That's brilliant. That's so brilliant.
Yeah.
So
So therefore, if I am going to speak to you, he says, about things in a physical form, remember, if you take it literally in its physical form, there's a klala. So don't do it. Right? Which is a big thing. In Kabbalah, you have all these things about male and female, and you have these books and these theories. I have these books on hand reading that, all based on the Zohar, that if the line is like this and the line is like that. And Rebbi Shimon holds that if you're literally looking at the lines like this, like this, like this, you're cursed. That's why Rav Kadari, always used this, people would say to him, I went to this Makubal and he did this magic and this and that. He said, really? Magic? Well, at least no one takes him seriously, right? So he said, well, actually he markets himself as your Talmud. And the whole nation had to respond, and they had to say Amen. So basically he's saying to them that if you want me to continue teaching you this, you're going to have to accept this. That you cannot take anything literally. Pasach Rabbi Shimon va'amar. So again, Rabbi Shimon goes back to a pasuk he mentioned before, and he's going to say as follows. Eis lasos lahashem heferu tarasecha. That if you recall before, he said that there comes a time when you have to do something for Hashem and you break the Torah. So for example, how come you're allowed to have a Chumash in English? It's against halacha. You're not allowed to have an English book. You're not allowed to have an English Gemara. You're not allowed to. It's against halacha. How come you're allowed to have a written Gemara? You're not allowed to. It's Torah Shabbat Peh. It's the same thing. Eis la'asos la'Hashem. When the time comes to do something for Hashem, heferu tarasecha, you break the halacha. Right? That's how Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was allowed to write down the Mishnah. That's so. Amai esos la'Hashem. So why is now a time to reveal the secrets of the Torah? Mishum deheferu tarasecha. It is because there are so many people who are taking Torah and smashing it. My heferu tarasecha. What are they breaking? What do I mean that there are people who are breaking the Torah? Torah dila ela. They're breaking the Torah that has the highest meaning. The ihi mispatla ilo yisaved b'tikunei da. Because if you're going to teach Torah, without teaching that it connects you to upper worlds and that it has the capacity to fix everything, every time you learn Torah, you're smashing Torah. Ula'atik yomin itamar, and this pasuk is said about Atik yomin, whatever the ancient ones. As long as there are people who are teaching Torah with a sense of Torah being limited, then those people are called the smashers of Torah. Because there are people who are smashers of Torah, Eis la'asos la'Hashem, the time has come to do something for God. So we have to reveal what Torah really is. Ksiv, the pasuk says, Ashrecha Yisrael michamocha, that the Torah praises Klal Yisrael, and it says, praiseworthy Klal Yisrael, who is like you. And what's interesting is, so the words that the Torah says about Klal Yisrael is mi chamocha. About who else do we say mi chamocha? God. Ksiv mi chamocha bo'elim Hashem. So this is unbelievable. You have a pasuk, one pasuk that says mi chamocha about the Ribono Shel Olam. You have another pasuk that says the Torah saying about Klal Yisrael mi chamocha. That means there's no question that Klal Yisrael has a capacity to reveal things and to fix things and to use HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kavod, which is the Torah, in order to fix the world. And therefore, Rebbi Shimon now begins to prepare himself, which is, he is the midah of Kesef, which means he's the top of the center line, right? You guys know the three lines? So you have, on this side you have Chachma, Chesed, Netzach. Here you have Keser, Chachma, Das, Tiferes, Yisod. And here, and Malchus. And here you have Bina, and Gvura, and Hod. I said Chachma on the right side.
No, not in the middle. You said in the middle.
No, I just said here, here, and here. I did the three lines. Yeah.
I understand. What else?
Okay. So now, he's now going to set up the pattern. So he sits himself as Keser at the top of the middle line. Karar and Rabbi Elazar Berei, Osvei Kameh. So he calls Rabbi Elazar his son, and he sits him to his right, which is Chach. The Rabbi Abba misitra achara. Rabbi Abba, who is Bina, sits on the top, on the left. Va'amar, Anan kalala dekola. We three, Keser, Chachma, and Bina, incorporate all the rest. The reason is, I'm sure most of you know this, but it's still worthwhile. We did this, didn't we do this? Where I explained the different levels of the spheros. Didn't we do that in Das Tunos?
The how?
Yeah. We did, okay. Say, I don't need to do it then. Why do you think he's doing this, sitting his Talmidim like that? You think they couldn't understand it?
No, so that should flow.
What does that mean?
It's not literal.
Well, this part is probably literal. It means a metaphor.
He says that he really sat with him because he's just teaching you.
Could be.
He's making a correspondence down below to what's up above. He's connecting, he's already arranging things that are implicitly connecting the upper and the lower.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just making a visual because it's easier.
Well, actually what he's doing is he's explaining to them that unless each one understands his part and how it connects to all the other parts, it won't work. Remember, his whole idea is to unify. Do you know how the voice of Hashem traveled at Har Sinai?
It got stronger as it went.
How?
it came out from Har Sinai, and it was a circle. And it went through the ears of everyone, and then came back to the Ribbono Shel Olam until it was a complete circle. So that it was almost as if everyone was standing in this enormous circle, and they all heard the voice of Hashem. It came out of Hashem, went through them, and then back to Hashem. That's what the Zohar says. They were all connected at that one point with one call, and each one understood how he fit in to the whole picture of Torah. At that point. That was what the revelation was. And it was so perfect that that's why they stopped existing. They saw the Ribbono Shel Olam. And Kilo Yirani Ha'adam V'chai. A person can't see me and live, so they die. Because they saw the Ribbono Shel Olam. So he brought them back to life.
They saw the perfected love.
Yeah. Which is, if everyone is unified in Torah, doesn't mean you all agree, but if everyone's unified in Torah. Okay. So now what happened was, so you had 4 pillars appeared. And in the 4 pillars, a chuppah appeared, which is recreating what? What? The chuppah of Adam and Chava, where the Malachim were holding the 4 poles of the chuppah, and the Shekhinah was the chuppah, which is recreated when Mashiach comes. It's a pasuk in Yoel. Ishtiku. So now, and then all the neshamos of the tzaddikim and all the great ones in history and the malachim are coming down because Rebbi Shimon is revealing the secrets for the tikkun of the world. So they all want to hear. The whole Bria wants to hear. So the chaverim, who are not yet sitting with Rebbi Shimon, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Abba, are looking at, this is an awesome experience. This is cool. This is cool. Ishtiku.
And there's more.
Ishtiku, but they were quiet. Shamu kala, so they heard a voice, which is that the entire court of Shemayim came down, and that it was absorbed into the paroches. It was absorbed into the chuppah. All of the kochos of Shemayim are now absorbed, because what did Rebbi Shimon just say? I'm Keser, you're Chachma, you're Bina. This is that which incorporates everything, so everything has to be there. Va'ar kuvsam da nida nakshan, and so the chaverim, their knees, who weren't sitting under the chuppah, their knees started to knock together. They were terrified. This was a little too intense. My kala, what was the sound that they heard? Kala dechnufaya ila de miskamfe. They heard that the wings of everyone, of all the malachim coming down and flapping, because they were coming to hear Rebbi Shimon explain all the secrets of existence. If he's Keser, then he's expressing as close as possible that very first expression of will to create the Bria. And everything was incorporated in that first second of expression of will to create the world. So they're all coming to hear, so the thunder is what they're hearing, and they're terrified. Chadi Rebbi Shimon. So Rebbi Shimon smiles. This is cool. Va'amar, and he says, now's not a time to be scared. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Right? Right? Because it says, Hashem, the pasuk says in Habakkuk, Hashem shamati shim'acha yoresi. That when Habakkuk says, Hashem, I heard what you wanted me to hear, and I was scared. This is because Habakkuk saw the Asara Harugei Malchus. So he was only seeing that which was coming from Gevura, and that's why he was scared. Hasam Yavus the Havi l'Mahavi Dachir. So it made sense there for Habakkuk to be scared, because it was a time of Gevura. Anam Decha, you know the whole story of Habakkuk. He's the one who drew a circle, and he said, I'm not getting out of this circle until you tell me why bad things happen to good people. So, because he had seen a vision of the Asara Harugei Malchus. So he said, I can't take it. I'm not getting out of this circle, which is where Choni HaMa'agel gets the secret of being a circle drawer, of doing it. And that's the whole story of Habakkuk. You know who Habakkuk was, right? He was the one brought to life by... No, Eliyahu was Yonah. The boy, that's right. The boy Eliyahu brought to life was Yonah. The boy Elisha brought back to life was Habakkuk.
He did it through circles.
And he did it through circles, right? Yeah. I mean, not that I know, but I've heard about it.
If I don't know this whole story, is this going to impair where we're going here?
About Habakkuk?
Yeah.
It's a parak in
I
Navi.
don't remember. Okay, no, as long as I'm not going to miss
Third
anything.
parak, you won't miss it.
Okay.
It's the third parak in Habakkuk. Just know that he saw the Asara Harugei Malchus, and he said, I can't take it.
Okay.
It's too much, God.
Okay.
Okay?
Needs martyrs.
He said, okay, you know what? For Habakkuk, it was okay to be scared. Anam b'chavigusa talim milsa. But what we want to do is we want to express Hashem's love. And if you remember, I said before, every one of them was an expression of chesed. Therefore, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to be scared. We all love Hashem, and because we all love Hashem, and because it says from Hashem's great love for you, and the pasuk in Malachi says, I love you, I have always loved you. Those who are focused only on love have absolutely no reason to tremble. So stop trembling and be happy. What's happening here? Why is he taking them through this stage? I mean, you can imagine, you're about to reveal the secrets of the world. You know that if you're undeserving, you're going to be blown away. You'll hear everything coming down from Shemayim. And then what begins, what for Adam and Chava is the Shechina, here is all of Shemayim in the thickness of the paroches, of the chuppah that's over them. You don't think the natural reaction is to be terrified? And yet he's telling them you can't be. That you have to understand that there's a certain level at which, if you love the Ribbono Shel Olam and you believe that the Ribbono Shel Olam loves you, then the fear has no place. And he wants them to stop being scared. Right? It's not that they were in awe, but their knees were shaking. Well, it says their knees were kissing each other. So if their knees are kissing each other, then basically, thank you. If their knees are kissing each other, it means they're scared. If you're scared, you can't do this.
So it has to come to some Ava instead of
It
from
has to
Dira?
come because you're desperate for the connection of Ava.
And the awe is allowed to be there. I mean, it should be there, but it shouldn't be fear.
Awe, but not fear. That's right.
So fear is the exact opposite of the
Well, the Gemara says, and Medrash says that it's impossible to have fear and love in the same place, except when it comes to Ribbono Shel Olam. So you have no mitzvah to love your parents. You have a mitzvah to be in awe, and you have a mitzvah to be mechaber. You have no mitzvah to love your parents. Gemara says it's asking for too much. What? You can't ask children to fear their parents and to love them. It's just contradictory.
But if fear is understood, if awe is understood,
You can't do it. If the only people I've been able to love and be in awe, but at the same time is only because of relationship with Torah. Only because.
Rabbi, is he also teaching? I mean, we said at the beginning that he's educating them and bringing them to the next level.
Yeah.
So is he teaching also that if you're on the true path, you will encounter fear? And if you don't encounter it, you're not there. And that you must pass through it like the Rash.
That's right, yes. Very good. Okay. So now he has to warn them that whatever he's going to reveal to them, they can't reveal to anyone who's non-deserving. Rebbi Shimon Pasach Amar. So Rebbi Shimon opened his mouth and began to say, Holech Rachil, one who walks around like a merchant, a peddler. Megala Sod is someone who reveals secrets. Right? Because that's what peddlers do. You know, people would come to their gossip, for their gossip from the...
So I think this is the third time we have like Pasach that he opened up. Is each one like kind of different?
A whole new state. Right. V'neman ruach, but one who is reliable, mechased davar, knows when to keep things quiet. So he asks, right? That's easy pasuk, right? A gossiper, you can't trust with a secret. Someone who's reliable knows how to keep his mouth shut. Holech rachil, I krab kasha. There's a problem with this pasuk. Because why does it say Holech Rachil? It should say Ish Rachil mibai leila mevar. It should say a man who walks around. My Holech, why does it say one who walks? Rachil. Elaman de lo isyashev beruchai. This is referring to someone who does not have Yishuv Hadas. He's still trying to find his path. Because he's still trying to find his path, he cannot be sure that he's walking in the right direction, v'lo havi mehemna, and therefore is not considered reliable. Holech Rachil means he's wandering, and as long as he is wandering, he is lost. He's not reliable. That's why, the pasuk, do you have a chumash there? Gracious. It's such a powerful puzzle. What?
I'm saying her chumash has seen better days. That one,
Yeah, it's a shanta.
just used too much.
Yeah, it's used too much. Vayashkem Lavan baboker. This is after the final confrontation between Lavan and Yaakov. Lavan woke up early in the morning by Nashek Lavanav Livnosav, and he gave a kiss to his sons and to his daughters. Vayivarach Hashem, he gave him a bracha. Vayelech, and he went. Vayashav Lavan Mimkama, and Lavan returned to his place. So Lavan went to Mimkama, his place. V'Yaakov, but Yaakov halach lidarko, to his derech. What happens to someone who finds his derech? Vayifku uvo malachei Elokim. Do you know who said that part?
No.
You know, your father said that part. Yeah, that's where I heard it from. Vayifku uvo malachei Elokim. That once you find your derech, then you'll find the malachim you need in your life to guide you.
Isn't there also a pasuk that says that Esav alach lidorko when he goes to out in Seir?
Only if you don't read the whole pasuk, but yeah, it does.
You editing again?
What's the next word? Seira, to seir. It's not his derech, it's his derech to a place.
I hear the echo of here.
No, he was waiting for this opportunity. I wouldn't have remembered it was your father. I remember now exactly when I heard it.
This is so amazing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
like
have
it's,
knee problems, so I keep having to straighten.
Wow.
he was like incredible. The man knew how to read a pasuk. So that's what it means. It means that if you have a derech, if you have a path, then you can rely on a person. But if a person doesn't really have a derech, let's say they're going to go from one Rebbe to another Rebbe, or they're going to choose one thing and then another thing, and they'll get inspired by this and then they'll get inspired by that, they're not reliable. Right? And then you can't trust them. So you can't reveal secrets to such a person. Well, what does it look like? He's not reliable. So what happens is, Humila deshama azo bigave, kechizra b'maya, adirami le'levar. What happens is that it's like sometimes you see a bug on top of the water, that it jumps on the water and it lands in the water and then it jumps on the water, and, right? So he says this is what happens if you teach real Torah to somebody who doesn't have a derech. It bounces off of him, just like wanders, and then you never know where it's going to end up. So it's not necessarily going to end up in a good place. My taima, what's the reason? Mishum deleis ruchei ruach de kiyuma. He doesn't have a spirit of consistency, where something can last. Avaman de ruchei rucha de kiyuma. But someone whose whole essence is an essence of that he takes things and he builds it up and is consistent in everything that he's learning, he's building one thing on top of the next. Beiksiv, about such a person, it says, Ne'eman ruach, one who is ne'eman in his ruach, one who's reliable, mechased davar, knows how to keep things hidden. V'ne'eman ruach, what does it mean, reliable in ruach? Kiyuma derucha. How do you speak about Moshe Rabbeinu? Yismach Moshe b'matnas chalkov ki eben ne'eman. Ne'eman. The whole idea, that's what the idea of ne'eman is. Being reliable. Ki berucha tauya milsa, that, and then now he says an incredible thing. That in order to know when to share and when not to share, you have to have Ruach HaKodesh. And the only way that you can have Ruach HaKodesh is if you're consistent. If you're not consistent and you're still searching to find your own way, you can't possibly have Ruach HaKodesh. Which is a really important thing to know. Because the Gra on Mishlei says, look, during the time of Nevi'im, let's say you want to know what's the purpose of my existence. You want to know. You want to know what you're supposed to work on. You want to know what path you're supposed to choose. You go to a Navi, and that's what a Navi did. A Navi would say, you were created for this reason, this is what you need to work on, and this is how you need to work on it.
I want one of those.
Unfortunately, says the Gra, we don't have Nevi'im anymore. So he says, so what do you do? So he says, after Nevi'im, you went to someone who had Ruach HaKodesh. The Tanaim, some of the Amoraim, you know by their names, by their titles, if someone's name is mentioned with the word Rebbe or Rav in Gemara, then you know that he had Ruach HaKodesh. If someone's just mentioned without Rebbe or Rav, you know he didn't have Ruach HaKodesh. Ben Bagbag, Ben Hey, don't have Ruach HaKodesh. So he says, so when you go to someone who has Ruach HaKodesh, if he can connect to your derech, because Ruach HaKodesh already is not Nevuah, it's not as expansive. So if your avoda is somehow connected to his path in avoda, he can help you to achieve where it is you want to go and help you define where you come from. But the Gra says we no longer have anyone with Ruach HaKodesh. So what are we supposed to do? Right? Like you said, I want one of those. So the Gra's answer is that the Pasuk in Mishlei promises that if you become a Neman, Hashem will give you the Ruach HaKodesh you need to find your answer. That if you're looking for integrity in your Avodas Hashem, that you will achieve the level of Ruach HaKodesh you need in order to define the purpose of your existence and how to achieve it. Just tell me what the Gra says.
And how do you become a Neman?
How do you become? I don't know, but if you find out, let me know.
Yeah, but say if that was true, then why would the first thing be a Selach Rav? If you could do it on your own, then why would you need to find the Rav to guide you?
There's no way you can become a Neman.
Without a Rav.
No. There's no way you can become a Neman until you know a lot. And then what you do is, even the process of choosing a Rebbe is part of your self-definition. Right? You have three things you have to do with a Rebbe. One is, it has to be someone who can answer your questions. Right?
Yeah.
Second, you have to be comfortable with the person. You have to respect the person. Be comfortable. If you're not, then even if you can answer all your questions, if you don't respect them, you don't feel personally connected. The third is, it has to be possible that you see him kamalach yashares. That he achieves a level that compared to you, he's like a malach. Right? Because the Gemara says that our Rabbeim were like malachim and we're like nothing. So if you have those three stages, then what you're having someone is, you have someone who's going to give you the information, and the Rebbe teaches you to be a Neman. That's a Rebbe's job, is to teach you to be a Neman. Once you are a Neman, you'll figure out on your own. But that's his first job, is to give you the information, the area in Torah you need to help you learn how to connect different things that you're learning, which is why you have to be able to answer your questions. Then you have to feel comfortable, probably related to how we began, the davening for each other, the two steps. Okay. Uchasiv, it says, Al titenis.
You're okay?
Yeah, my throat's wearing out, but let's do a little more. Al titenis picha, do not give your mouth to reveal the secrets of other people. Lechati es b'sarecha, otherwise you will be sinning yourself. What this is saying is that there are certain things that you learn, whether it's with a chavrusa or from a sefer or from the Rebbe, that are his secrets to you. And in the same way that you can't share someone's secrets with another person, you have to know when you can share a secret that you have learned from your Rebbe. V'leis alma miskaima ela baraza. And you have to understand that the world can only exist when there are people who can maintain secrets, who are reliable, whom you can trust, and the people who are able to perceive what's necessary for the tikkun of the world without revealing it to people, to others who won't know how to deal with it. V'chi ibamile alma itzrichraza. Just think. Every human interaction teaches you something about your relationship with Hashem. If the world can't function without people being able to keep secrets, the milin razin derazia da'atik yomin. So what about the secrets of Hashem? You don't think Things which cannot be given over even to the highest angels can only be given over to human beings. Halachas kama v'kama, much more so there has to be this commitment to keeping a secret. Amar Rebbi Shimon l'shamaya lo ema diyatzison. So Rebbi Shimon says, I don't call on the heavenly hosts to listen to what I'm about to say. La'ara lo ema ditishma. I'm not calling on the earth to hear me. Moshe Rabbeinu said, Ha'azinu hashamayim v'sishma ha'aretz. I'm not. Daha'anan kiyume alma. Because we, the ones who are toiling in Torah, are the ones who are giving existence to both the Shamayim and Aretz. They don't need to be here. Tana Raza Darazin. In other words, if I find $100, okay, I'll make it better. I find $1 million on the ground, okay? I can pick it up and I can say, I picked this up for Oded and Shiri. It becomes Oded and Shiri's, even though they don't even know about it, because Zachin la'adam shalom b'fanav. M10, sorry. Right? Because you're allowed to do a favor for someone without their knowing about it. Chances are, Oded and Shiri and Tammy are not going to, no one here is going to reject $1 million, right? So I can do it for you without your knowing. Therefore, I don't need to call Shemayim V'aretz, because if you guys, the Chaverim, are willing to accept your responsibility, you're giving existence to Shemayim V'aretz, we don't need them here. You're picking up the $1 million. Tana Razin de Razin, it says in the Sefer, The Secret of Secrets, Kapasach Rebbi Shimon Baraza de Razin, that when Rebbi Shimon opened his mouth to speak of the secret of secrets, Izdaza Asra, the earth began to shake just like it did at Har Sinai. V'chavrein ischalchalu, and the Chaverim were shaking, the way Klal Yisrael shook at Har Sinai. Galai Beraza, and he began to reveal one secret, the Pasach, V'amar, and he opened and he said, Ksiv Eila HaMelachim Asher Malchu Be'eretz Adom Lifnei Melech Melech Yisrael. These are the kings that ruled in Eretz Edom before there was ever a Jewish king. So he says like Zakon Atun Tzidikaya Di Iskale Lechon Raza De Razim Da'araisa. Praiseworthy are you, my righteous students, that I can reveal to you these secrets, De Lo Iskayim the Kadisha Elyonim, that have not been revealed to the highest holy ones, meaning the highest Malachim. Man Yashkach Bahai, whoever is Zocha to hear what I'm saying about this one pasuk, Uman Yizke Bahai, and one who's able to understand what I'm saying, Dahasa'adusa Amhenusa Dechala, which is the basic of understanding absolutely everything, Tzolosa Barava Yehei, my tefillah should be received, Lo Yischashiv L'chava L'galada, that it will not be a sin for me to have revealed this to you. Umanyim Ruchavraya, Dahai Kra Kashavu, Daha Lahavi Lemichtav Haki, Daha Chazinam Kanamalaka Haveada Layasun B'nei Israel. Why does the Torah need to say these are the kings who ruled before there was a king in Israel? We can figure it out ourselves. If it says that they were kings then, and there's no king until the time of Shaul HaMelech, we figured it out. So why does the pasuk need to present it this way? Ubidah is Aru Chavraya. So the Chaverim were wondering about this. Alarazin derazahu delayachim b'nei nishal leminda u'leishtamoda u'lemirchash b'datayu bahai. This is the beginning point which cannot be revealed to a human being, at which he begins to speak to the Chaverim. So I'm going to stop here.
I was about to say, why is it okay for me to be learning this?
Because I'm stopping here.
Okay. So that was all introduction. I mean, everything, that's not,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
No, it has some very practical.
No. I'm not saying, I'm just saying we're going through all this, and you have to be a Re'el Elohim, and you have to be a Neman, and you have to be this, and you have to keep a Sod, and all the people out there, this can't just be given to anybody just for fun. And yet here we are doing this. I'm like, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I'm not there. You know, so I shouldn't be learning this yet. So
No, your recap left out that it taught you to daven for a teacher, and before you go to a class that your teacher should reveal to you, and that you should choose a teacher who's also davening to be able to teach you, and that you should encounter fear if you're on the true derech,
And that
and
you
that
can
you
receive
should
it as a
not
matana.
stop. You should pass through the veil of fear and go forward. So that we learned very many practical. Did I leave any steps out?
No, it's a great
recap.
recap. It's very good.
Just want to tell you right before he's actually niftar,
Not only that, but you're doing it what he says to take the Torah and make it practical.
Yes.
Right?
So you grew.
I heard everything you just said. I do agree with that.
Okay, cool. In this kuta, very high.
I just want to tell you that there's one point where Adam Harishon comes down and he says, please, don't reveal this because you're going to be embarrassing me.
Why?
Mhm.
What is
Because he's going to be explaining why Adam sinned. Adam said, please don't talk about it, you're going to embarrass me. It's really cool.